Hello, my name is Troy Opperly, and we have with us today Victor Kolvinskis. We're with Enzyme Essence, and we're going to talk about enzymes as catalysts today. So this is kind of
That's a powerful topic. Everybody wants change, and change is good. Sometimes dollars are better, but anyways, we're all for it. And enzymes do a fantastic job in creating radical change, and you can see that, like, for instance, when we have oil spills in the ocean or some lakes, one of the things that they do is actually they spray with either specialized bacteria that are noted for excreting very high level of volume of lipase enzymes, or they'll spray it with lipase enzymes. It'll just disappear and convert it into something that is biologically acceptable to all the living forms that are in the ocean, and they'll eat up the rest of essential fatty acids and comes out as oxygen and water. But you can do this experiment yourself. Like, you can take, for instance, the extra enzyme, and you create an oil spill at home. What you do is take a bowl of warm water and put in a teaspoon of oil and just sprinkle the enzyme on it, and it'll just it'll disappear. You'll see that oil spill disappear. Can you imagine what happens when you take it internally? I mean, all that greasy food you've been enjoying, or you can get the environmentally safe Drano and pour it down your pipes that has all this greasiness. Well, what does it do? All of a sudden, it unplugs it. Well, you got to unplug your blood vessels. And Ease, they really make it easy for doing that. Then you can see how it impacts, as an example, collagen or protein. Collagen is just one of the forms of protein. Right. And Jello is the way they make that solid little block of cool stuff that wobbles, and people just love it. In the hospital, they feed it to you one of the first things after surgery or whatever. Right. So what you do is add Astra enzyme or Astra Extra into it. One capsule when you're preparing it, but you let it cool down to about 110 degrees temperature, add the Astra enzyme and mix it in, and keep it at a warm place. You can put it in a basin of very warm water so it stays warm, and stir it. That's like enzymes acting on collagen or protein of your body. And then afterwards, stick it in a refrigerator, which what you anticipate normally, that mixture of Jello and water, warm water, is going to solidify into a block. Yeah. Guess what? It does not anymore. It has been pre-digested. Or you can take your oatmeal cereal and sprinkle the enzymes on it. And, it's initially a solid block. When you sprinkle on it, within minutes, it starts melting into a liquid, and you can pour it out of the bowl. That's enzyme action, enzyme catalyst action. And we want that enzyme action supporting our digestive process, don't we? Because that is everything. When starch does not digest, it turns sour and acid. You got acid reflux. You're reaching for Rolaids, Tums, and all kind of other magic potions. And that's becoming the biggest selling item, one of the top selling items in the marketplace, dealing with acid reflux. And the fact that our culture is basically a starch-oriented culture. That's the cheapest product in the marketplace, and they put it as enhancer into everything. Everything is loaded with starch, and you're not digesting. By the time Dr. Sumner, an enzymologist and Nobel Prize recipient, said by the time you hit your mid-30s, you lost 95% of your amylase starch digestion. And don't we have usually around that time burning stomachs starting to predominate because you're not digesting your starches successfully? But if you took Astra Extra, happy belly, happy camphor, because that starch is not going to turn sour. It's going to turn into maltose, sucrose, and all kind of other desirable body-related components. So enzymes are beautiful, to have happy relationships. And if you are involved in a love relationships, when you're getting intimate and getting close to one another, you don't want that rotting stuff puffing and huffing all over your beloved. If you took enzymes, you won't have the protein rotting, you won't have the fats turning rancid, you won't have the starch turning icky, sour, and you got that sour breath, you know. You take enzymes, it's better than the best breath refreshener. So it just, you don't want to be a compost heap. You want to be an energy heap that has high activation going on inside of your body. And that's keeping you alive by eating many different enzyme-rich foods. Right now, we have a major insurgence of this interest in fermented foods. I mean, commercials for probiotics are appearing right and left. And why are the probiotics so effective? Why are fermented foods so helpful? It's the enzymes that they produce, the microorganisms that live on these foods like kimchi, sauerkraut, miso. They produce tons of enzymes, and that's what's creating the desirable effect. And people are starting to experiment more and more so.
Yeah, I mean, I always tell people from an energy perspective that scientists, you know, they don't exactly agree, but somewhere between 50 and 70% of the energy that you have every single day is wasted on digesting food. I go, wow, there's a lot of things I want to do in life.
Yeah,
besides eat my food.
Oh, I'm a digester, you know. Yeah. University of Chicago, one of the brain trusts actually showed you lose 80% of the caloric content in food due to the fact that you're just not only wasting time and energy in digestion, and you see that effect, you know, you go sit down at a big meal and eat, all you can do is start talking in, you know, 4-word sentences, and your brain is going down and you're feeling sleepy, and then you reach for that espresso, or maybe you take some kind of a drug, and all of a sudden you're buoyant and you're a happy camper instead, because it is the hardest work your body does is digestion.
Yes.
But if you put in enzymes with your digestion, wow, you can go out and do athletic work.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, just a lot of people don't realize this. I mean, from an energy perspective, without enzymes, because this is one of the fascinating things in order to initiate a chemical reaction, the amount of energy required is enormous, right?
That's right.
Enzymes reduce that by like 80% to where it just takes a little bit of energy to get that kick started. So just, yeah, it's from so many different perspectives, yeah, it's just a catalyst that makes things happen.
That's right. And it's the energy that breaks down into food is poisonous to your system until it is converted into something that the body can use. And I'm going to share a little bit some of the very unusual esoteric research that I pursued. And one of them is basically entitled Natural Toxins in Food. This is a monthly journal put out by the Academy of Sciences, okay? And they showed that every food is toxic unless your body can remove the toxic components and left behind with vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, and in particular to be able to convert the starch into eventually finally ending up as glucose. It's what your body can utilize internally.
Right.
The starch, the protein component converted finally into enzymes and amino acids, which your body can be utilizing. It's all being done by the action of enzymes, and the fat into essential fatty acids and sugars and stuff like that. But if you don't have that conversion, the food is poisonous. So you might think you're eating the best meal, nutritional profile. Your dietitian will say, well, you need to eat all this stuff. But they don't take into consideration at hospitals. I mean, the meals are deadly. I mean, totally enzymeless. It creates comatosis. My grandmother, I'll just share a little story. My grandmother went to the hospital. She had asthma. She had heart attacks. You know, these were the old days, 40 years ago. She went to the hospital. They kept her in there for 60 days. And during that time, for whatever reasons of insanity, they had her on IVs. Well, believe it or not, that's equivalent to fasting. That woman ended up having so much energy, clear-minded. She was bouncing around in her bed, okay? Then they finally decided to pull the plug out of her and start feeding her. Within 2-3 days, she turned into a babbling idiot, totally no energy, and coughing up mucus. Before that, she was breathing like natural. This is the wonderful dietitian's designed food. Wow, you know, it's just not happening.
Right. Oh. The enzymes are so amazing. That's why, I mean,
It's so
you've been,
exciting.
yeah, studying them for over 40 years, and I mean, you know, and 20 years for me, and I mean, I know nothing. There's so many fascinating aspects. So we'll call it a wrap on this one, and there's some more exciting things we're going to cover in the next version.